everybody. We are so excited to be here today. Welcome to Renati's Expert Picks. This is for Art and Antiques for Everyone's July showcase. I am Renati's Vice President of Global Industry Relations. I am so excited to be here with my colleague, Mark Hill, our Director of Renati EU, and he's our expert. But he's not just our expert, he is an expert on BBC's Antiques Roadshow. So happy to have you here, Mark.
Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure how I'm going to get back out through the door of my office after that sort of introduction. It's always a pleasure to look at wonderful objects. I love going to Art and Antiques for Everyone up at the NEC in Birmingham when it's on. And it's just a shame that I can't go and see everybody and talk and share passions and enthuse with them. But hey, you know what? We'll make up for it right now, right?
We will. And I know that we've had a chance to go through and look at a few of the exhibitors and see what they're bringing and what they're going to showcase during this virtual fair, which we've all learned to really love and enjoy. I mean, these virtual events have grown and become so exciting, and you've picked a few things for us. So what's first?
Well, it's always so hard to pick from the selection at Art and Antiques for Everyone, and I've chosen 5 objects that really just sort of shouted at me from across the computer screen, and I thought these are wonderful things I would be delighted to own and have in my home. And they're all things that sort of have a little story behind them, and I think that's so important. The first one I've picked is from Blackbrook Gallery, and it's a rather curious, naive painting of a 19th century butcher's shop. And there you can see his name running across the top, W. Buckingham. And if you just look underneath, you'll see Mr. Buckingham, the butcher himself, looking very proud with his shoulders up like this, standing next to his wife and presumably his daughter, and I suppose one of his assistants. But what I love is the wealth of detail in here. So this wasn't painted by a sort of classically trained professional artist. And for me, that's what's so appealing about it. It's literally a sort of moment captured in time by somebody who knew and loved and undoubtedly went to this shop. And the more you look at it, the more you realize there is to see. So you get little sort of amusing things like that sort of pig's head poking out of the barrel. Is there a pig in a poke or a pig in a barrel down there? But also look at the detail of how he's sort of, or she, we don't know who the artist is, has given detail to all the bones and the structure of the meat. I mean, he hasn't just given us a slab of red there. They've actually gone to some length to pull some detail out of it, which I think is great. Naive paintings like these have a sort of folk art inspiration. Of course, each and every one is unique, and there is this incredible charm about it that I love. And I think for £950, it's an absolute bargain. It's in a beautiful frame that really matches those rich, warm colours. And it's just a snapshot of real Victorian life.
It's a really great piece. I love it. So what do we have next?
So next we have something that I think for me just sums up classical elegance, and it harks back to those amazing Art Deco figurines by the likes of Ferdinand Pries and Demeter Shiporus. It's this sort of wonderfully elegant form of this lady holding up this sort of illuminated globe with her headdress flowing behind her. It's cold painted bronze. And of course, bronze is a very hard and heavy metal, as we know. But the skill of the artist, who is Erte, is really shown here. It seems light. You can almost feel it sort of moving in the wind. There is this incredible skill to the design and also the craftsmanship and the casting of this piece. It's a 3-dimensional version of a cover design that Erte produced for Harper's Bazaar entitled Fireflies. And he said, this image was inspired by clouds of fireflies that I observed at night in May when he lived in Monte Carlo. Since I prefer to work during the quiet hours of the night, the fireflies were a welcome addition to my surroundings. Beautiful and soundless. Doesn't that just bring it to life?
Oh my gosh, now I need to have it. That's really what it's going.
Well, you need to go and speak to David Hickmett of Hickmett Designs, and it's £8,500, and it's a limited edition, and this one is number 89 from an edition of 350, and it's dated 1985.
It's stunning, just absolutely stunning. Great pick, as usual. And what do we have next?
So up next, I'm actually still sticking with the female form. But as you can see here, we have 3 very different versions of female form. And these were produced and designed by a great Danish designer called Bjørn Wienblad. And I've always been a great fan of Wienblad. He's one of those great sort of polymaths. He designed across all manner of different media, from posters to metalware to textiles to theatre design, but uniting and linking all of them, there's this wonderful sort of fairy tale side to things. They're very charming. They've got that sort of whimsical feel to them as well. But when you look at these ladies, I think the one thing you get out of them is friendliness, each representing one of the seasons. So spring, summer and autumn we have shown here, I think really have that hygge feeling about them that just make me smile and feel warm inside.
They are so precious, and I love the fine details, the fruit in the basket, the bird in the hand. So sweet, each of them, and their face is just slightly different. I adore them. I absolutely adore them. I can't imagine anyone going wrong with these figurines in their home. They're really beautiful.
And they date from about 1977, so they're right at the height of Wienbled's career. And I mean, I think for sort of between £435 and £485 each, they're just a wonderful, wonderful example of Danish design of the period. And you can find those with Linways.
Up next, a stunning mantel clock. Tell me about this.
Well, I think for me, this is one of the icons, one of the great treasures of the arts and crafts movement. And it was designed by a very well-known designer called Archibald Knox. And he produced it for a company that really needs no introduction, and that's Liberty of London, one of the most famous department stores in London that really allowed the arts and crafts, and to a certain extent the Art Nouveau movements, to blossom and be bought by people across London and across the country. Archibald Knox was born on the Isle of Man, and when you start to look at what he would have seen growing up, you can see an awful lot of the elements behind this. So he was a designer at Liberty from between 1899 and 1910, and brought these aspects of the Isle of Man, the aspects of his background and what he saw, to many of his designs. So for a start, you can see the sort of standing stone form of it. Then, of course, you get the sort of Celtic and Norse influences that one might find on the Isle of Man, with those wonderful decorative flowers and those fabulous lines. I mean, they might be based in nature, but when you look at the sort of cleanliness and the clarity of line there's something quintessentially modern about it. It's not angular and Art Deco or modernist, but there's something incredibly simple and very, very symmetrical. And I think those two enameled bosses on the bottom, I kind of wonder whether he was thinking about night and day when he was thinking about the two there, and the symmetry really accentuate that. And actually those bosses and the other little bits of enamel detail on there do really sum up a lot of Knox's work. That was particularly what he was well known for, this fabulously rich and deep bluey green enamel that you can see on the face and at the base.
That is absolutely stunning. It looks very Art Nouveau to me, but to your point, it is also very modern and streamlined. And I love it. I think it's stunning.
And that's on sale from my very good friends at Morgan Strickland for £6,400, which for an object that is featured in countless textbooks, and as I say, really is a treasure of the arts and crafts movement, I think it's a great price.
And I know we've got one more pick, so I can see that this is something that I would definitely wear, and it's stunning per usual from our friends at Scarab. Tell me about this piece.
It's made out of platinum with 14 karat yellow gold. And as you can see, it's embellished with an array of stones. So you've got 21 round, brilliant cut diamonds there. You've also got 6 cushion mixed step cut blue Sri Lankan sapphires. That blue is so bright and so vivid. And then, of course, right in the middle, you spotted it straight off. You've got that magnificent yellow sapphire, nearly 8 1/4 carats worth there. It's a big lump, and my goodness, I bet that sparkles in the light. But I think with this, as I've just described, the more you look at it, the more you realize there actually is to see. That wonderful sort of curlicue, that scrolling behind the flower with the heart right there of the yellow sapphire. And then those diamonds at the other end of the color spectrum, you've got the blue sapphires as well. Everything works. And the more you take it apart in your eye and put it back together again, you realize what a wonderfully competent piece of jewelry this is. And my goodness, it would match anybody's sparkling personality when they come out back down from lockdown.
You know what I really noticed about this, and that I think was brilliant, because a lot of people do not mix metals, but you have the warm stone in the middle on that warm gold, and then you have all of the cool stones on the platinum, and it's just such a beautiful combination. And I love to see gold and the white gold mixed together. You know, they always I always got as a designer, can you mix the metals? Here's a perfect example of being able to mix the metals and it matches anything. Think about that. There's nothing that you couldn't pair this with. It's beautiful. For now, this was a perfect intro for Art and Antiques for Everyone's July showcase. We're super excited. We hope to see everybody in November.
Well, you'll keep seeing me, certainly. I mean, you just try and stop me.
Thank you so much. Until next time.